Hey, 6th grade band, this is an introduction to eighth notes. So let's review first by recognizing some note values that we should know by now. First of all, let's recognize and review our whole note. Just remember, a whole note's a round shape that is not colored in. Inside the note head, it is white. Okay, the round shape is called the note head. The note head does not have anything attached to it, and it gets 4 counts. After we learned the whole note, then our next note value that we learned was a half note. Half note, same thing, has round shape. It's not colored inside, but it does have something attached to the note head, and that is called a stem. And this is review of what we did first semester, okay? So a half note gets 2 counts, 2 beats. Your foot's going to go down, up, down, up. And then we learned our quarter note. Now inside the note head, it is colored in. It is black inside the note head. It does have a stem attached. And notice the stem can go facing down or the stem can face up. When the stem is facing down, the note resembles a P, the letter P, and when the stem goes up, the note resembles the letter D. Each quarter note gets 1 count of sound. Okay, now let's go to what we're doing is introduction to an eighth note. So now notes that we want to play a shorter value, we start adding more symbols to it. So our eighth note is black inside, it has a stem, and just like the quarter note, very similar, the stems can go up or the stems can go down. But notice what's attached to the end of the stem. When the stem goes up, what we call a flag goes down. So when you see that it has 1 flag, and the key word here is 1 because you can add more flags to that stem and it changes the note value. Anytime you add some type of symbol to a note, it's going to change the value of it. So what you're looking for is the color, what's attached to the note head, and then how many symbols attached to that stem. In this case, 1 flag. And then when the stem goes down, notice the flag will go up. Okay? So that is called an eighth note, and each eighth note gets 1/2 of a count. So when your foot goes down, that's a half a count. When it's a quarter note, 1 full value, your foot goes down, up. When it's a half note, your foot goes down, up, and then that times 2 for your whole note. Okay, so an eighth note gets 1/2 a count. So if we have several eighth notes, we can make it look cleaner and when we're writing it by pairing them together, joining them together. So when we have 2 notes joined together that are colored black inside and has a stem, and they're joined together by what's called a beam, B-E-A-M, we call this pairing of eighth notes, 2 eighth notes. They're paired together. And here, the stems are going down, where the stem was going up. Accidentally touched it, so let me go back to that slide. Okay, so when the stems go up, the beam will be on top. When the stems go down, the beam will be on the bottom. So the line, that black bar connecting the 2 notes is called a beam. So we have 2 eighth notes. Your foot goes down for the first eighth note, and your foot goes up for the second eighth note. When we count it, if it's on beat 1, the first note would get just the downbeat of 1. And when your foot goes up, we say and, A-N-D. And it looks like a plus sign because that was just easier to type in here. But when we're in person, I'll show you what symbol I use. So we have 2 eighth notes joined together. So now let's compare those. The first line you see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the eighth notes. They're black, stem, 1 flag. So when I count it, the first note would be count 1, your foot goes down. Foot goes up for the and, next eighth note 2, and 3, and 4, and. But look how hard that is to read and get kind of lost in visualizing that, okay, when you're reading it left to right. So a clean way of writing it is joining the 2 eighth notes together by our symbol called a beam. So when I join these 2 eighth notes together, it looks like this. And it's still counting the same, 1 and. Here's these 2 eighth notes joined together, just below it, 2 and then the next 2 eighth notes joined together, beam it together, 3 and the last 2 eighth notes when we join those together looks like 4 and, where you have the beam, okay? So they're counted the same, but you can write them differently. But each one of them gets a half a count each. And they're called eighth notes because in 4/4 time signature, you can fit 8 of them in a measure. Okay, so let's go to your book. If you will turn in your book to line number 43, this is where the book introduces eighth notes to you. Notice in line 43, all the notes are on a single pitch. Okay, and it tells you what note to play, but let's worry about learning how to count it and how to clap it. So if you'll notice, the claps underneath each measure is just the clap of where your foot would be. They did not actually clap the rhythm, they're clapping the beat. So when your foot goes down, that's where a clap is. So if you'll notice, the third clap and the fourth clap, there's a note in between. So that means in between your foot going down and down again, between that third and fourth beat, you're going to have an eighth note. So let's look at this. We have quarter note, 2 eighth notes being together, quarter note. And notice the next measure, quarter note, 2 eighth notes, see the beam, and then a quarter note. So when we write the counts, and I want you to write this in your book, underneath the first note, as I have done here for you, okay, that's beat 1. We always start every measure with beat 1. That one quarter note gets all of beat 1, so your foot's going to go down, up. So put the number 1 right underneath that quarter note. Underneath the second note, quarter note, write 2, because that quarter note's going to be played on all of beat 2, so your foot will go down, up. Then you have 2 eighth notes. I know they're eighth notes, black, stem, and they're beamed together. That's 2 eighth notes. So when your foot goes down, we say the number, which is 3, so write a 3, and anytime your foot's up, that's going to be and. So do that plus sign, and then our last quarter note will get all of beat 4. So I would like for you to pause the video here and to finish writing the counts in for the next 3 measures. Okay, so let's see how well you did. What did you notice about all 4 measures? Did you notice anything? All 4 measures were written identical in rhythm. In the first measure, quarter note, 2 eighth notes, quarter note. In every measure after that, all 4 measures are the same rhythm. So once you filled in the counts for the first measure, you have the answers for the next 3 measures. So in measure 2 should have been 1, 2, 3, and 4. Measure 3, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And measure 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to demonstrate how to count and clap that, okay? So watch your book for me, or you can actually watch me first. Here we go. It goes 1, 2, 3, and 4. 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 So everywhere I said a number, my foot was down. Everywhere I said the and, make sure your foot's up. So this is an introduction to eighth notes, and by playing and learning how to read and count eighth notes, then we know how to play more music.